welcome back. My name is Shauna and I'd like to give you a nice big warm welcome to our Yin Yoga Foundation series. This is class 2 of 5. So if you haven't done class 1, I highly recommend that you go back and do that before doing this one, because I have given a bigger, more, I guess, fuller explanation of what Yin Yoga is and all of the elements to expect in Yin Yoga. I'm still going to remind you of things. Of course, I don't expect you to remember everything from the first class. But if you're already familiar with Yin Yoga and you don't feel like you need a big explanation about what it is, then go ahead and start from here and you can follow. You can just catch up. That's fine. No matter where you are, I'm happy to have you. So today we're going to still be working on some hip opening. There's one pose that's going to be possibly a little bit challenging for people who aren't very open in the hips and aren't very supple in their knee joints, but I have modifications for every single pose. So don't fear that you won't be able to look like, how I'm doing it. Remember, that's not the goal. The goal is to make peace with stillness, to breathe through the poses in the time frame that we have them in, and we're only doing them for 3 minutes each, and to just, to honor your body and make sure that you're not in any pain whatsoever. So that's my number one rule always. Honor your body, don't be in pain, but meet your appropriate edge. So we are trying to, again, we're trying to work that connective tissue, that fascia, and expand it. It's not very stretchy, it's not elastic, it's more of a plastic substance, so it can expand a bit, and when it does expand, it releases that stagnant energy and emotions. One thing I didn't say in the first class is that when you get into some deep poses, it may not happen when we're holding them for only 3 minutes, but if you carry on with Yin, and you're holding these deep poses in some of these places that are a little bit more stiff, that you find a little bit more challenging, there's always a chance that you will have a big release of emotion. And it could come in the form of tears, it could come in the form of laughter or anger or any sort of emotion that is being stored in these joints, in these connective tissues. And when that, or if that does happen, the best thing to do is just let it happen. Don't try to figure it out. Don't try to analyze where the emotion is coming from, because emotion is energy in motion and it needs to come out. That's what we're looking for. We're looking for those big releases. So not to say we're looking for big, emotional tears and stuff like that, but if it happens, then that's just so you know that's what that is. Okay, so without any further ado, I'm going to get us into our comfortable seating position. I want you to find a landing place here. If it's lying down, if that's more comfortable than sitting up, then get into that position. I'm sitting up on a block. Find yourself on a block or a blanket. Get your hips above your knees, and that takes the pressure off your lower back. If you haven't already grabbed your support props, pause the video now and go get, I would say, 2 blankets, a thin one, a thick one, a couple of big pillows, maybe a sturdy pillow, and a towel, which I don't have, but I'm gonna ask my trusty assistant, Philip, who's not with us today, but he is, he's just behind the camera today, to grab us a towel, because it's one of my substitutes for blocks. So you go ahead and pause and grab what you need. And also remember that you don't want to be on a hard surface. You want to be on a mat or a blanket or a towel, just to make yourself a little bit more comfortable. Okay, so while Philip's grabbing us that extra prop that I forgot, I want you to, if you're in your comfortable seat, close your eyes if that feels safe to you. And you can just throw it, or you could come in and say, "Hi, everybody." He's so camera shy. Nala's here too. You might see her a little bit in frame laying down. She loves Yin Yoga. It's nice and relaxing. So if it's comfortable to you to close your eyes, you can do that now. Gently rest your hands on your thighs. Start to focus on your breath, but don't do anything, you don't need to do anything different or special. Just start breathing and start paying attention to your inhales and your exhales. If it doesn't feel comfortable to you to close your eyes, that's fine too. You can just relax your gaze. As we come into this moment of stillness and grounding and finding our place here, not just our place on the ground or wherever we are, but our space in time that we have literally carved out for ourselves to do this practice. I would like you to just take a moment and give thanks to yourself and to anyone else who has helped you carve this time out to have this moment, which is so beneficial to soothing that sympathetic nervous system, you know, getting you in that calm, restful yin space, which is in balance. You know, it's to balance that fast, busy, heat, warming yang space that we mostly live in. We mostly live in that busy, busy, busy get up and go time. So this is a very special reward for us. Just breathing. Now let's start to deepen our breath. And when we breathe in, try to breathe all the way down into your belly. And when you breathe out, I want you to feel your belly sort of contracting, your navel coming to the back of your spine a little bit and pushing really almost forcefully the air out. So breathing into your belly. And audibly pushing that air out. One more deep breath in. And one more deep breath out. Good. And we can slowly open our eyes. And today we're going to start off with the other of the two opening poses that I talked about yesterday. So yesterday we started with a heart bench, and that was to open up our hearts, get our selves open to a new experience. And today we're opening up the lungs. So this is going to be lung bench. And the purpose for lung bench, I'm just gonna grab this because I'm going to use it, is to open up our lungs and prepare our lungs to breathe in our life force, our life energy, which in yoga we call prana or pranayama. And the reason why we marry our movements with our breath is because that breath is everything. And one of the things that I will say until I have no breath left in my body is that if you can breathe, you can do yoga. Doesn't matter if your body can barely move, if that's all you can do is breathe. If you can breathe, you're doing yoga, and it's beneficial to you, to your mind, your body, and your spirit, no matter what. And so we're going to show you how that happens, and it takes practice and it takes consistency, but eventually you'll see that if you don't already. That breath is life. And so here we are with lung bench. We're going to open ourselves up. So I'm going to show you, before we get into this pose fully and do our full 3 minutes, I'm going to show you how I do it with blocks. But of course, then I'm going to show you how to do it with whatever you have at home, your blankets, your pillows. If you do have blocks, go ahead and stay there once you're in the pose if you want to follow along with me. If not, just wait a minute and I'll get into this and then we can start together, because I'll do it. I'm doing this with you today. I'm not going to come out of the poses, so that way if you feel like you're doing it wrong or you want to look up and have to see that someone's still holding on for those 3 long minutes with you, I'm going to be in this pose. And then any talking I do in the midst of poses will probably be as a voiceover, just so that we can keep it a nice experience for you. Okay, so we need 2 blocks, if you have them again. we'll do it differently. And we're going to put one vertically on its highest setting, and the other one is going to go horizontally. So if you remember yesterday, or not yesterday, but whenever you did the first class, heart bench was vertically, sort of like in a T, but this is going to be horizontally, and it's going to come across your lungs a little bit higher than where you stop the heart bench. So I would say about 2 or 3 inches above the bottom of your shoulder blades is where we're going to put it. So we're going to put our soles of our feet on the ground and ground ourselves here. And remember, we're not activating our muscles, we're trying not to. We're just trying to get into that connective tissue, and we're going to slowly come down, and of course use your hands to guide this however you need to, so it's in that spot just about 2 inches above your shoulder blades. Use your hands to move this block for your head. And when you're here, it shouldn't feel like a back bend. It should feel like it's pushing into your upper ribs. Okay, it is going to give your back a little bit of a bend, but you're going to feel a little bit of pressure, as though someone's putting both hands in the middle of your upper back. Okay, I'm going to get up now and show you how to use your house, whatever you have around your house. Okay, but while I'm getting up, watch me, because I'm going to get up slowly and carefully, because getting out of poses is very important. When our connective tissue has sort of loosened up a bit, you are at risk for injury if you're not very, very careful with the way you move. So I'm going to either roll off, I'll do that very gently, and then kind of slowly come up. So I'm going to put these to the side. I'm going to use this rolled up towel to go into my lung area, and I think I'm going to use this pillow, this with an extra blanket as my pillow. Okay, so get into your position here. I need to push this up. You could use 2 towels even if you wanted more of a, if you want it to get in there a little bit more. You should feel it. Yeah, it feels really good to me right in between my shoulder blades. Alrighty. If you are okay in your lower back, you can relax your legs straight out. If not, keep them bent, or you can have them bent and having your knees resting on each other in a restorative sort of pose. Have your hands out, palms up, just relaxed, and here we go for 3 minutes.
So as we go further along in this Yin Yoga series, this five class series, I will be talking less and less during our pose holding time. I'm giving you a background during this time because, one, it allows the time to go a little bit faster if you're learning a little bit of, if you're learning something, or if you're hearing my voice. I have found that, sort of listening to someone speaking makes the time go faster. But really our aim is to be in the present moment and to find peace with stillness. And it doesn't necessarily always need to be quiet stillness, but I think that's the best thing for us when it's meditation, right? So we're kind of working towards a meditative experience, which also helps to lubricate and make our joints more mobile and reduce our stress and anxiety and release our stagnant emotions and energy and so forth. But just so you know, if you think, gosh, she's talking an awful lot, it won't always be like this. I'll be talking less and less as we go on through the course. Remember to always come back to your breath when your mind starts to wander into the future or the past. And you can say things like, I am breathing in, I am breathing out. Or if you have your own mantra, Om Shanti is a good one that I use sometimes. You can just repeat that to yourself silently.
Okay, so take one last deep breath in here. One more deep breath out. Open your eyes very slowly. And remember to slowly and carefully come out of this. Bring your feet to the mat. And I am going to just kind of shift my hips over a little bit and roll off, pushing myself up with my hands. How'd you do? Awesome. Okay, so you can push that to the side, and we're going to now just kind of sit up a little bit in the middle if you can. Remember, I'm remembering that this is difficult for some people, definitely for Philip, to sit just like this. So if you need to sit with your feet up or whatever, however you need to do it, even like this, whatever is going to make you not in pain. But we're going into the next pose now. It's called Shoelace Pose. If you do traditional yoga, this will be similar to cow face pose. If you're not familiar with yoga at all, you'll be thinking, what a weird name. But so it's might be a little bit tricky. So I'm going to show you a modification for this in a minute. So don't follow along with me if you are experiencing pain in your knees or in your hips. Just going to show you what it looks like, and then I'm going to go straight into the modifications. So what we would do is having our feet straight out and flat out in front of us, feet on the ground, knees bent. We're going to bring our left foot in, sort of tuck it into right where it would meet the back of your thigh, or the bottom where your butt meets your thigh. And then we're going to pull your right leg over the top. Yes, I know that some of you might be saying, what? No way. Don't worry. It all takes time. And just kind of getting into a position where both sit bones can be on the ground as even as you can. And then you may just want to be here if this is enough of a stretch in here, or if you need further, you can start to roll down. Chin to chest first, and then rolling down, okay? That is without modifications, so only do that if you are okay here. If you are finding that absolutely impossible and you think, as I know Philip would if he was doing this, his knees would not do that. So I want you to do it lying on your back. You can have a pillow to rest your head on. Come all the way down to your back. And knees bent, feet on the floor, and then you could just take your right leg over to your left in a figure 4. And if that's enough of a stretch, you can stay there. Otherwise, you can pick up your left leg, kind of what we call thread the needle, and hold on to it by lacing your hands together, and just hold that there. You don't have to activate your feet. In fact, do not activate your feet as we would in traditional yoga. Just let your feet fall. The only thing that's activated a little bit are your arms to hold your leg if this is where you're going to land. Okay, otherwise, I'm going to show you, if you get into this pose here, you can put a pillow between your legs here, however you need to. You can put blankets under your ankles if they're a little bit sensitive, and you can always grab yourself a pillow or even a couple of pillows, put them here so that you have somewhere to sort of rest your arms as you fold over. Okay, so let's get into our position. Just before you fold over or close your eyes, let's take a deep breath. in. I'm going to push this to the side for now. Deep breath in, chin to your chest as you exhale, and here we go into our pose for 3 minutes.
I think to fully appreciate and understand the benefits of Yin Yoga, it helps to understand more about the symbol or the concept of Yin and Yang. The concept and the symbol come from Chinese philosophy, Taoism in particular, and it's a philosophical framework, and it describes what Chinese people have long observed in nature and in the material world. And it represents the universe creating itself from chaotic Wuji energy and transmuting it into order, or Taiji. The great polarity is another word for it. The Yin Yang symbol represents creation theory, or the Big Bang. It begins with nothing and transforms into everything. So we often think that it just represents opposites, but it really is more about the balance of opposing but complementary and interconnected forces, known as Qi. And Qi in Chinese philosophy is that life force energy, which in Indian philosophy we call prana, which is what we spoke about in the beginning with our lung bench.
Take one more deep breath in. One more deep breath out. And slowly walk yourself up.
If you're lying down doing this in figure 4, then slowly let go of the leg that you're holding. Don't just drop it, just like set it down. And maybe use your hands to take your right leg off and set that on the floor and ground your feet. If you're here in this position, we're going to lift our right leg up and lift our left leg up as well, and just rest your feet on the floor. If it feels good to you, you can rest your hands behind you and give yourself a little windshield wiper here just to work that out. All right. Moving into our next pose, and I'm going to remind you again to make sure that if you are in a pose, if you are there and gravity is doing what it's supposed to do and taking you deeper, but suddenly it's taking you too deep and you feel some pain, it's okay to engage your muscles to come back up out of that pose and give yourself a little bit more ease. That happens to me quite a lot, especially now that I'm used to doing yin. My body just says let go, and it starts to let go faster than I'm ready for it to. So I'm finding that I'm pulling myself back sometimes. So just know that's fine and it's good. That's what we want you to do. Okay, so we'll get to the other side of that shoelace pose because of course we have to balance ourselves out. But first we're going to go into butterfly. You will remember this from our first class. So from this position, we're going to pull our feet in to touch. And remember that if you need to support your hips in this way, grab whatever props you need to put under you here. And you can grab yourself a pillow if you need to stuff it up here, because we're going to fold over. So get yourself into the position that you need to be comfortable. I'm trying to remember that if you haven't done class 1, that's what we do, is we prop ourselves up as much as we need to so that we're not in pain, but we are still challenging ourselves and having a bit of a stretch. We're stressing in a good way and putting tension on that connective tissue. So if you need more of a stretch here, remember we're going to pull our feet in closer to our pubic bone. And please, if you need to take some stress off your lower back, always feel free to sit up on a blanket. I encourage you to. I'm going to now because I think I need it. So what we're going to do on this blanket is we want to be on the very, very edge of it, just so that I'm going to turn sideways so that you can see just for a second, so that your sit bones are just on the edge of it here. So you just want it to create this straightness in your back rather than this, okay? It just helps to lift it a bit and take the tension out of here, all right? So find your butterfly. And before you fold over, we're going to take a nice big breath, life force breath in. And we're going to gently pull our chin to our chest and reach over for 3 minutes.
So in class 1, we briefly discussed what the yin symbolizes and what the yang side of this symbol means. Just to go a little bit deeper, the yin aspect of the yin yang represents grounded earth energy. It's the receptive, cool, dark. It's tied to the moon, it's tied to the oceans and the shade, and it's associated with feminine energy. Yin is associated with the winter season, while yang is more summer. And then we talked about perspective before, I think in class 1. The autumn is more yin than summer, but more yang than winter. So some of the themes that can be associated with yin are contemplation, contraction, softness, stillness, quiet. So start to deepen your breath here. Remember that if gravity has taken you too far in this pose, you can always pull yourself back up to where you need to be.
Take one more deep breath in and one more deep breath out. And slowly walk yourself back up.
Gently opening your eyes. And then using your hands, we're going to bring our butterfly wings back together, planting our feet on the ground. And once again, if you need to work this one out, just reach back to prop yourself up and give yourself a windshield wiper. You're doing awesome. How are you finding this stillness? It can be a challenge, but once you get there and you feel yourself really making peace with it, it's a great feeling. Okay, now we're going to do the other side of shoelace, remembering that our bodies are different to each side, so you may feel that this next side is tighter or more comfortable to be in. And again, that's fine, that's totally normal. So it won't be the same. So you just might need to adjust yourself however you need to. So if you are, remember that if you can't get your knees to go that way, we're gonna do the same thing that we did the first time, laying down, but this time you're going to cross your left leg over your right in a figure 4. And if you can, if it's available to you, if it's not too painful, or if you are flexible enough, grab your right leg and gently just hold on to it. We're not pulling it. So you don't want to force anything, you just want to hold it there, okay? Just want to hold it and let your feet just do whatever. We're not activating them like we would in traditional yoga. And if we're sitting up doing shoelace, I'm going to use a blanket this time. I don't think I sat on a blanket the first time. And this time we're going to bring our right foot in to touch your left bum cheek. And we're going to bring our left leg over the right. Adjust yourself however you need to. I think the main goal is just that you want to have, remember, you want to have both sit bones on the ground. So you don't want to be leaning over one side or another. So if you have to have your legs like that, or however you need to do it, that is fine. Okay, so it's not gonna, you're not gonna, if this is new to you, you're not gonna be as bendy as this might be. And I mean, I'm still pretty tight in certain areas. It's a slow process sometimes, depending on what what's gone on in your body over your life. And so find any props that you need to support you here. If you need pillows under your ankles, if you need to hold on to something and squish it in here and lean over that, do that. And take a nice big deep breath in. Holding your chin to your chest as you slowly roll down. Or if you don't feel like rolling down is for you, then just stay here. If this is enough, that's totally fine, but just maybe put your chin to your chest so that will signal to your body that it's time to relax. We'll do 3 minutes here.
So we need to talk about what happens when yin and yang are out of balance, because we're always moving towards balance for a very good reason. Yin yang is always a comparative relationship, which means you can't have one without the other. Something is always more yin in comparison to yang. It cannot be yin or yang, but yin yang. Yin yang reminds us that there's a natural order to the universe, and productivity comes from harmony. So when this harmony is broken, problems and diseases can occur. So here's some examples of what can happen when yin and yang are out of balance. In Feng Shui, yin yang theory is represented as the art and science of placement. It's a lot more than a home decorating scheme. Feng Shui translates to wind water, with wind representing yang and water representing yin. And when the elements of yin and yang are in balance in your environment, there's a good flow of qi. Remember, we call that prana in Indian philosophy, that promotes health, wellness, and longevity. And when it's out of balance, your surroundings can feel stale and uninspired. In our relationship to nature, the planet is naturally in a yin-yang balance. However, as we beautiful humans pollute nature and rev up the temperature of the planet, we're disrupting this balance. By destroying nature, we are, in a sense, destroying ourselves. We would be better off adapting our lifestyles to be in alignment with the seasons and cycles of nature versus resisting or fighting them.
One more deep breath in. One more deep breath out. Slowly rolling up.
You can open your eyes if you haven't already, and take your left leg and bring it over. And bring your right leg over. And plant your feet and do your windshield wiper if you need to. I definitely need to after that one because that side's a little bit tighter than the other one. All right, so one last pose before we get into our final two resting poses. And so this one is called Dragonfly Pose. So we're going to sit up on our blanket or pillow as we have been. If you don't need it, that's fine, but I need it. Remember to have your sit bones just on the edge so that it's tilting your pelvis back just a bit. And then we're going to straddle our legs just as far as you can. Don't try to force this. Don't go farther than you actually feel comfortable. You don't want to stretch too much because remember, your muscles aren't warm. We're not doing our muscles here. We're just getting into our connective tissue. As you do this, you want your feet to just, and your legs to just do whatever they're going to do. We don't want to engage our quads or anything to keep them in any certain angle. The only thing we're concerned about is having our sit bones on the very edge of this blanket or pillow if you're on one. Okay, now the modifications from here, I'm going to show you a few because of course we're going to fold over, but it can be a lot. Like if you just go here, that's a lot, but you want to be able to give the gravity the opportunity to pull you further without taking you too far or too fast, and this can actually hurt you if you go too far too fast. So this is what we're going to do. So let's see. I'll take my pretend block here and another one. I'm going to roll this blanket up. And I'm going to put this sort of where it's kind of the same as the block. Doesn't really matter. Put this pillow here. This pillow here. That should be enough. Just stacked enough to where it can be like a little bench in front of you. So if you were to lay your forearms down, they can just nicely relax. And then I'm going to just lean over, head down onto the pillows. And the good thing about that is that the pillows will slowly compact. They're not gonna, as gravity sort of allows you to relax and your lower back relaxes over, and because they're here to hold you, but they have some give, they're still going to allow you to go deeper, if you know what I mean. So you can do that, okay? Or you can just have, I'm going to show you one other way. You can have, if you have blocks And I do suggest that if you're going to continue with Yin, to grab a couple of these at your local yoga store or even Target. On their highest setting, it's a great way to just hold your head. And then as you feel like you can start lowering the settings. If you see what I mean. I'm not quite there right now. You know, so at some point in time, over time, not today, not during this 3-minute practice, you may not even need them. Just use them as you do. Okay, so find your comfort, find your ease, and then we're going to get started. So I think today I'm going to try this. Before we go into our pose, we want to take a deep breath in, sort of breathing in that energy, breathing in that acceptance of this stillness that we're about to encounter, and our life force. Okay, breathing in. Slowly bringing your chin to your chest and rolling over.
So another way that the imbalance of yin yang manifests itself is in our health. And so the yin yang concept is the philosophical framework of Chinese medicine. And it's discussed in the Yellow Emperor's Inner Classic, the most foundational text in Chinese medicine, that all of our organs and meridians are assigned yin and yang energy. You know, we really haven't talked about meridians just yet, but each one of our yin poses they target certain meridians in our body, and we will in future classes discuss that more, because certain yin classes can be aimed towards certain meridians, like the ones that affect your kidneys or your lungs or your liver and so forth. But in Chinese medicine, certain illnesses are seen to be more prevalent during different seasons, corresponding with yin-yang imbalances within the body. So it's very interesting. And Yin Yoga does have we talk about meridians and we talk about Qi, but we also talk about prana and chakras. So it is a really beautiful marrying of this Chinese and Indian philosophies that are very similar.
One more deep breath in. One more deep breath out. Slowly roll yourself up to sitting. Opening your eyes. Move all your props out of the way here.
Good job. Use your hands to bring your legs in very slowly, okay? And again, sitting up and using, your hands behind you if you need to rock that out just a bit. Okay, so the second to last pose that we're going to do before we get into Shavasana, which is our resting pose, our final
the most important pose in all of yoga, I always say. It's the one that seals the deal for everything that you've just done. So it's very important that we don't skip that. I'm just saying, it's not just laying down and having a little rest. So, but the pose that we're going to do now, you'll remember from the first class, is Sphinx Pose, and that's the counter pose to all this forward bending that we've done. So this is a really very, very good for our lower back especially. So we're going to make our way very slowly and carefully. I start by kind of just coming up to a tabletop position on all fours. And then we're going to drop down to our forearms. Even that just feels really nice, just to give my lower back that elongated stretch that it needs. So if you need a second here, take it. Otherwise, we're going to very carefully bring ourselves onto our bellies. And when I say carefully, I mean slowly, 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 because our lower backs have been stretched and just stressed out a little bit from all of that forward bending. So here we are in Sphinx, and we're not going to clench our butt cheeks, or we're not gonna let our do anything with our legs to sort of keep them in line. Whatever your natural resting position for your legs are in this pose is great. My feet tend to go in, some people's might splay out. Whatever your body does is what your body does. What we don't want to do is we don't want to force our necks back, so we want to have sort of a very even curve from our tailbone all the way up to the top of our neck. You can have it neutral. You can even have it hanging a little bit, just don't have it crunched up, okay? So take a nice deep breath in here. Oh, just before we go into this, let me remind you, if you remember for the first class, if you need more of a stretch here in Sphinx, you can come up on your hands like this and give your lower back that extra stretch. But remember that this is kind of intense, so I don't expect anyone would want to hold this for 3 minutes. I probably wouldn't want to do it for more than 30 seconds actually. So just give yourself that, and then you can come back down. Okay, 3 minutes here.
So as we go through our final 2 poses, we're just going to get a little bit more quiet. So start now to really focus on your breath. Go inward and remember to always come back to your breath when your mind starts to go to those places, like the things that you need to maybe do after class today, or something that someone said to you last week, different things going on in your work or at home. Come back to, I am breathing in, I am breathing out. Deepen your inhalation and your exhalation here, and see if you can find some melting in your heart space between your shoulder blades. See if the gravity can pull that heart space down closer to the floor, even while your arms are holding you up, but your heart space is slowly trying to find its way down.
breath in. One more deep breath out. We can slowly start to open our eyes a little bit. And if it feels good, you can just come down onto your hands and just give yourself a little rest. You can jiggle that out if you need to. And then as you're ready, we're going to very slowly and carefully come onto our backs for Shavasana. Make sure that you have everything that you'd like to support you in this next to you before you get super comfy. So for instance, you can have a pillow under your knees. That's a really nice, relaxing thing to do. You can have a pillow or a blanket under your head. And for today, I've got a nice thick blanket, and I'm going to lay this right over my hips, my pelvis area. It's like I don't know if you've ever used a weighted blanket. It actually really does help to calm your whole body, your nervous system. Gives a really nice sense of comfort and ease. Plus we did so much in our hips today that's just an extra gentle, sort of loving thing to do for your hips. So if you have a pillow or a blanket under your head, you're going to want to just tug on a slight bit, just give it a little tug so that it brings your chin down closer to your chest, which if you remember, that is giving a signal for your body to go into rest mode. You want to maybe tuck your wings, your shoulder blades into their pockets a bit, and relax your hands with your palms up. Relax your feet, relax your legs, relax your forehead. Start to focus in on your breath. If you're holding any energy anywhere in your body, just feel that melt all the way down into the ground, through your mat or your towel, and just feel yourself as a pool of loving mush on the ground. Breathing in.
So we talked about the things that can happen when yin yang is out of balance, and now we'll just focus quickly or briefly on how to put it back into balance. And you are doing it right now. You have found stillness. You're in this yin place. Other ways that you can do that is to prioritize rest, prioritize exercise, but not at the expense of, sleep or downtime, eating simply and seasonally, creating a restful nighttime routine. So when you come home from work, or if at the end of the day, wherever whatever you've been doing, you are often still in that yang style energy. So you can create routines like turning the lights down and turning off electronic devices, taking a bath or a nice hot shower, doing a meditation, or a yin style exercise class, just to sort of cultivate that parasympathetic nervous system. When we are in balance, when we balance out the opposing but complementary forces of yin and yang in our modern lives, we can achieve more vibrant and sustainable health. And Chinese philosophy reminds us that balance is the key to prosperity.
you need a little bit longer here in Shavasana, then by all means stay here and for as long as you can. That's the longer you stay here, the better you will be in the long run. However, if you do need to move like I do, we're going to start by wiggling our fingers and our toes, just beginning to wake the body up again, and then maybe stretching the arms overhead, taking a big deep breath in, letting it out through your mouth. And then we're going to bend our knees up. I'm just going to kick this little pillow out from under me and move my blanket. And then very slowly and carefully, remember everything is very slow and intentional when we move out of poses. I'm going to roll over to my side and take a little snuggly breath in fetal pose, fetal position for a sec. I'm taking a moment to be grateful again for this time that I have carved out for myself, and I hope that you can do that as well. Just taking a moment to say thank you to yourself and the universe or whoever else you might want to thank for this time. And then slowly we can, if you want to keep your eyes closed, that's nice too as you do this, just using your arms to gently bring yourself up to seated position if you want to, or you can happily stay in Shavasana. I'm just gonna pop myself up on this pillow here. And we're gonna get back into a comfortable seated position if that's where you're headed. Resting your hands on your thighs, taking one deep breath in together here. One deep breath out. Bringing your hands together at the heart and bowing towards your hands. And as you breathe in again, I want you to bring your thumbs up to your third eye or between your eyebrows. And here's where I thank you so much for joining me today and for sharing your energy and your willingness to be in this space with me today, and with Nala and with Philip behind the camera, and with anyone else in the universe and the world that's practicing with us together at the same time. I just appreciate this time with you. So thank you. Namaste.